We are previewing NFL Week 1 here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and we're talking with Scott Kellen from 6centsports.com right now. Scott, the second game that you wanted to discuss with us was Pittsburgh at Denver. Of course, Peyton Manning's debut. Denver's only a 1.5-point favorite at home. Total's 44.5. And I'm looking at this game thinking, you know, it is Manning's debut, so it's kind of a special game. Denver also looks to me to be very deep at the running back position with a lot of talented backs. I'm thinking that as good as Pittsburgh's defense is, although they do have a bunch of guys out on defense, I'm thinking that all in all, you might be more than a 50% proposition taking Denver minus 1.5 than not. What do you think?
I lean that way. I really like the total in this game more than anything, and I like the over more than anything. Obviously, it's a bit of a not a bit, but it is a revenge game for Pittsburgh, losing I think 29-23 last year in the playoffs. It's a high-scoring game. Obviously, Denver's team is completely different now with Tim Tebow gone and Peyton Manning there. But they did score 52 points or so when they met last year. And for me, Pittsburgh does qualify in a great situation for me in Week 1, but I just can't play that. I think this is a bad matchup for Pittsburgh, and if it weren't for that situation, I'd probably actually be on Denver as well. But a couple things that some people forget in this. For Pittsburgh, Ryan Clark, their safety, who missed that playoff game last year, and that I think came into play in that game as well. He's going to miss this game again because it's a medical condition. He cannot play in the high altitude. So he's gone. It's going to hurt their secondary a little bit. And what's different this year, obviously, and also, although it showed up last year as well with Tebow, is Peyton Manning can throw the ball all over the field. He's got tons of receivers. Eric Decker's a great possession receiver for him. Thomas is a very athletic receiver that can really break it, as he did last year in the first play of overtime with the 80-yard touchdown pass. He's got tight ends that he can utilize, that he's familiar with. So he's going to be able to throw the ball all over the place. I think that's going to have an impact, especially with Clark being out. Pittsburgh's defensive numbers, over the years are very good, but I think they make up a lot of those defensive numbers by really beating up on the bad offensive teams. I know 2 years ago when they played the Packers in the Super Bowl, when I look back against above-average teams, their defense was actually average at best. So they make a lot of those and create a lot of those numbers by taking advantage of bad offensive teams. That's certainly not what you're going to get here in Denver. And when we start to look at Denver, the third week of the preseason, and albeit the preseason's very hard to determine if that's going to play out into the regular season or not, but against the 49ers, a very good team, the 49ers are playing the majority of their defense. Now, they might have been playing a very vanilla-style package against Denver, but Peyton Manning went up and down the field on the 49ers and scored, I think, 17 points in the first quarter. They said they'd seen enough, and Peyton went to the bench. But their offense looked extremely good. And I see them being able to do the same thing against the Steelers. Typically, when you spread out the Steelers, you can move the ball on them. And Pittsburgh's not going to be able to run the ball to win this game, and I think they know that, which means they're going to have to throw the ball as well. And if they get behind, they're going to have to throw the ball. I think both teams can easily get into the 20s in this game, and the total is fairly low. It's with 45 kind of being a key number, so 45 or 44.5 is pretty key. A 24-21 game gets us to a win or a push in this. And again, I think both teams can get to the 20s. Denver's defense is decent. Pittsburgh's offensive line is banged up, and you've got two dynamic players on Denver's defense that can really rush the quarterback and create problems. And so you have to worry about that a little bit. But Roethlisberger finds a way to move the ball, and they still have quality receivers on that team. So I think Pittsburgh will be able to move the ball as well. I like the over the best, and I have to lean towards Denver. I just think it's a horrible matchup for Pittsburgh right now. And if it wasn't for the strong situation on Pittsburgh, I'd probably be all over Denver as well.
All right. And I hate forcing us back to talk about team totals every video, but what do you think about Denver team total over then? It seems like that's sort of a combination of all the things you're saying.
Definitely, I think so. I think, I don't know what that team total is going to come in at.
Probably like 23, 24.
44. I mean, it's going to come in 23, 22, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think they get to 24 without any issues. So if you can get it under 24, I think it's a strong play. 24 obviously, adds a little bit more to it because it's such a key number.
Right.
But anything under 24, which you should be able to get with this low spread, I think is a very good play.
All right, great analysis once again from Scott Kellen from 6centsports.com, and I especially like your point about Pittsburgh's defense playing different against weak